The road to war paved by Israeli ideology with Netanyahu at the wheel, driving us into a never ending war in Iran. What has once become a Jewish problem is now an American problem that could lead to the deaths of 10,000 or more American service members and civilians. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Trench Grenade channel. I am your host, the average state of the world urgent update video enjoyer that your mom says that we have at home. Thanks for watching. Guys, the purpose of today's video is we're going to be covering major strategic movement and tactical movement moving towards the Middle East to prepare for follow-on operations against Iran. Now, as of the time of filming this video, Israel has complete control over the skies over Iran. They are able to conduct operations during the daylight hours, and have had no direct inhibition or prevention of them being able to bomb major targets in Iran. Now, the last remaining nuclear facility and one of the major issues is underground. It is 300 meters underground, and the best bunker buster that only the United States owns can only penetrate up to 200 meters, which would require up to three very precisely laid bunker busters to destroy this nuclear facility in Iran. I'm going to go over a large number of equipment and aircraft and units that are moving towards Iran. Keep in mind, this video does not represent the Department of Defense or the United States Army, and this is all equipment that is publicly able to be tracked due to transponders that the equipment has on them, or people have actually spotted it, or satellites have taken images of it. It's all unclassified. So, obviously, if you guys enjoy the State of the World updates, hit the like button, join the Patreon. It's literally only $5 a month and gets you access to a closed Discord server where you can find buddies to train with, game with, stay up late, and talk about why we are all going to die in the sandbox either now or later. And it's very unfortunate because this is, again, an Israeli Jewish problem, not an American problem. And this could cause, total destruction of basically a whole generation of military age males here in the United States. But without further ado, let's get into the key equipment that is all traveling or already in the Middle East, staged in either Saudi Arabia or in the ocean right outside of Iran. 22 KC 135 refueling aircraft. Okay, that's enough to maintain several weeks worth of operations. So 22 KC 135 refueling aircraft. I'll pull up a image brought to you by S2 Underground, obviously mega based, and what I rely on a lot of his reporting for is these reports, as well as the mainstream media and Instagram, Twitter, you name it. Other, mainstream, I would say independent journalists, but I'll pull up something from S2 Underground for you guys to be able to further track and see this visually. So 22 KC 135 gunships, 50 gunships, refueling aircraft, 53 F-16 fighter jets. Okay, that's significant. 53, I think each one of these costs 20 to 30 million a piece. So 53 times 20 to 30 million plus the 22 KC-135s, you're already looking at billions of US dollars, but it gets way worse than that. 12 F-22 next generation fighter aircraft. Okay, so 12 F-22s, 6 B-2 stealth bombers. Those alone, we're talking several hundred million, if not more. Probably closer to the B word there for those, each individually of those 6 B-2 bombers, 4 B-52 Strato bombers, okay, 10 C-130 Hercules aircraft. I mean, these are very significant amounts of aircraft and money. 6 more F-16 Strike Eagles, the Nimitz Carrier Strike Group, the Carl Vinson Carrier Strike Group. Now, to have what you're going to notice right now is to have multiple carrier strike groups, aircraft carriers, and their adjacent, I would call it destroyers and support vessels. That is significant. Okay, so we have the Nimitz Carrier Strike Group, the Carl Vinson Carrier Strike Group, a British, the Prince of Wales. British Carrier Strike Group. The Gerald Ford and the Iwo Jima Carrier Strike Groups are preparing to deploy earlier. They are still on the east coast of the United States. Again, that's public information. You can literally look up satellite imagery. None of this is it should be classified, but unfortunately, the way 2025 works is all of this is unclassified. So, and I'm sure there's some sailor right now taking a Snapchat selfie and sharing it to all their friends. So the Gerald Ford Carrier Strike Group and the Iwo Jima Carrier Strike Group are preparing to deploy early. That is a major red flag warning in and of itself. So just to rattle those off one more time very quickly: 22 KC-135s, 53 F-16 fighter jets, 12 F-22s, 6 B-2 bombers, 4 B-52 Strato bombers, 10 C-130 Hercules, 6 more F-16 Strike Eagles, the entire Nimitz Carrier Strike Group, the Carl Vinson Carrier Strike Group, the Prince of Wales British Carrier Strike Group, the Gerald Ford and Iwo Jima Carrier Strike Groups preparing to deploy early. Warnings of incoming missiles have just gone off at several United States air bases in the Middle East as of the time of filming this State of the World Urgent Update video. So, what more to follow on that? Some of those installations were missiles incoming, seek shelter. I'm sure as of the time of publishing this, it will already be new information. So, I need you guys to go look and see if we're at war. We could literally be potentially at war by the time this is published. As I saw these as I began filming. So go look. There's tons of independent journalists that will be uploading this on Twitter, Instagram, or X, I guess now. And I'm sure S2 Underground as well has already name dropped him. Again, Mega Base. I'm sure he'll have an update faster than I will be able to. But just understand that we have warnings of incoming missiles going off at two, at least, U.S. air bases in the Middle East. President Trump has discussed the nuclear option. However, as of the time of filming this, he has said that there is very unlikely chance of us using it. Now, the reason why I want to bring that up is the United States are the only ones in this, I guess, coalition with our greatest ally. Even though I do not consider the Israelis or these, I do not consider the Israelis to be our greatest ally. That's just my personal opinion. But I think it's a bunch of bullshit, and I think we're being trapped into this war. And I want to give you a history lesson real quick before I continue that line of thought. Netanyahu has been claiming Iran is 2 weeks away from developing a nuclear weapon. He has been saying that every few weeks to a couple months for the past 20 years. Okay? He is the reason we went to war in Iraq. This is obviously speculation. You can look at this. But I believe that Netanyahu is the exact reason why the United States went to war in Iraq, because he claimed that they have weapons of mass destruction, WMDs, at that time. So Netanyahu is in fact our you could look at him as an enemy, because he could cause your brothers, your sisters, your father, your mother to be killed in a sandbox for no reason in the mountains of Iran. So regardless of what you used to think about Israel, you might want to reconsider that. And if you only support Israel, obviously this is my personal opinion. We'll get back into the news here in a second. If you only support Israel because of your religion, because your religion tells you that the Jewish people were promised a piece of land by God and that we should defend them at all costs, this is America. For one, we can name anything Israel. There's tons of cities and towns in the United States named Israel where Jewish people live. So there's a lot of speculation on where does the left and right limit of this. But all of that is to say, believe in whatever religion and whatever you want to believe in. But I do not think we should die based on the words in a book, because people live in a certain area and it's called Israel, and they're of Jewish descent because the Americans put them there in 1947. So I know that's going to get a lot of hate. I do not care. That is my personal opinion, and I do not want to see thousands of American servicemen and civilians die potentially in a nuclear exchange because a book somewhere says that we owe them a piece of land when we repopulated them there in 1947 after they were persecuted in World War II. So, regardless of how you feel, that is how I feel. And yeah, I'll just leave that there. So, Netanyahu is the exact reason why this is all going on. This is his war with Iran, it's Israel's war. But let's go back to the bunker busting issue. They do not have the ordinance to continue to, one, arm the Iron Dome. Many mainstream media and independent news agencies are reporting that Israel has already used 60% of the Iron Dome's defensive ordnance. What does that mean? That means Iran may have been slow rolling it and using the weaker drones, the weaker ordnance to bomb Tel Aviv and places like this. So, here in the coming days, we could see the real first volley, the real death and destruction on both sides, right? So 60% of the ordnance of the Iron Dome has already been used, and that is why I believe the rhetoric from the Israelis trying to force President Trump's hand to bringing more ordnance, give us more bombs. We need to take out this nuclear facility, is what they're saying. It's like, no, okay? And to look at the writing on the wall here, Russia, yesterday, Putin abandoned Iran. He completely said he will not come to their aid. He's literally leaving them on red to the point where Iran has made a statement where they will remember this and they have a long memory and a passive aggressive, threatening tone towards Russia. So keep all this in mind as Russia is abandoning Iran, and we have all these vessels and aircraft moving towards the area. And as of 30 minutes ago, the United States has begun flying out all non-essential personnel, civilians from the Middle East, as well as that of the United Kingdom. So we are, in fact, going to war. And if you don't understand that at this point, you're living under a rock. Okay. Last thing I want to cover here, what can you do? Okay, what can you do? Well, you need to make sure your fuel supplies are topped off, as gas prices will almost certainly quadruple overnight if we get into this war in the next coming hours or days. Okay, so you need to make sure you have enough fuel to sustain you, your family, any emergency generators. You need to make sure you have enough water and food on hand to last 4 months. You need to make sure you have enough ammunition to survive unrest for 4 months. Okay, what that looks like for you is whatever it looks like. I recommend 10,000 rounds for your rifle and 5,000 rounds minimum for your handgun, as well as 250 double-aught buck shotgun shells. But you need to have that stuff on hand now. Okay, not trying to scare anybody, but I need you guys to just go look it up on whatever search engine you want. This is about to get bad, okay? And I'm looking at reports now of more B 52 bombers and B 2 bombers being notified to move to the Middle East. And with one report over Kansas of the B 52 bombers unable to gain altitude as fast as normal, indicating that they are already weighed down with heavy ordnance and bombs to be dropped on Iran. Okay, last thing I want to say here, if an airman or a sailor dies in the ocean or the air, right, near Iran or over Iran, what is the difference of them not being able to raise their children and hug their spouse again and kiss their spouse again? What is the difference there than a soldier or a Marine with sand and blood on his boots? There is no difference. So, enabling this rhetoric of we need to strike now, we need to strike fast, we need to strike before they get nuclear weapons. Even if they have nuclear weapons, they're at this point unable to effectively strike Israel, who are their next door neighbor. If we wanted to remove Iran from the face of the earth and glass them and turn them to glass, the United States could do that in a 12-hour period. We could nuclear strike their entire country and remove millions of people from the face of the earth. If that was the real threat, then it would already be done. People speculating that if they threatened Trump, then this would already happened. Back when we took out Al Baghdadi, right? Everyone remembers the kind of memes that came out from that. Back when we did that, they already announced they were going to kill Trump. Okay, so the rhetoric is already out there. If we're gonna do it all the way or don't do it at all. And at this point, I do not feel that we have the justification to literally turn them to glass. I do not feel that an ICBM and removing them from the face of the earth is we're not even close to that point. And if you feel that we are, then it's one extreme or the other. And at this point, we're not even, in my opinion, close to that. But if you got to this far in the video, I've talked a lot. All I need you guys to do is hit the like button. Thank you. Sincerely, thank you for hitting the like button. Comment down below what your thoughts are in the next few hours and days leading up to potential large-scale literal World War III. Because, well, I don't know if it'll be World War III. It'll be the British and the Americans and the Israelis, potentially the French, bombing the ever-loving fuck out of Iran, and China will have a decision to make. They've already sent three refueling and resupply aircraft. We don't know what was on those aircraft to Iran yesterday. Again, it could be humanitarian aid or it could be literal nuclear weapons. We don't know. It could be one extreme or the other. But China does appear to be passively, kind of very lightly helping Iran at this point. But that's a lot of talking, guys. Hit the like button. Comment down below where you see this going. I don't want to drag this on too long because this could end up being a 30-minute update. Basically, me telling you why I do not support Israel. Right? It's a different thing to support Israel or actively support Israel. You can be pro-Israel, but not have intervention on the United States part. So it's a big difference there. Anyway, join the Patreon. It's $5 a month. It gets you access to the closed Discord server where you can find buddies to train with, game with, stay up late, and talk about why we're all screwed. Thanks for being here. If you enjoy the State of the World updates, leave a comment down below. That helps out more than you know. Just say, leave your combat llama, leave your nuclear emoji down below, and let me know if you love the State of the World updates. I got to get to the gym. So thanks for being here, guys. And until next time, it's going to be Trench Grenade and my assistant, Nighthawk. Say hi, Nighthawk.
Hi, Nighthawk.
Nice. Your average State of the World urgent update video enjoyer that your mom said that we have an home signing out. Cheers.